Hi everyone, my name is Dr. Harmony. I'm a twin flame expert helping twin flames around the globe face spheres, find freedom, and glow forward on fire. Welcome to my weekly glow show. Today I'm going to be talking about an energy update and how that pertains to this eclipse that we're having, this total solar eclipse that we're having here on August 11th, 2018. It is a full cycle, a full circle, and we are closing out a chapter in order to create new beginnings. And this is the three-part series we've had of the alignment of the partial solar eclipse in Cancer on July 13th of 2018. Then we moved into the full lunar eclipse in Leo on July 27th, 2018. That led us up into the Lion's Gate that we had a couple days ago. And now we have the total lunar eclipse representing the full harmony of the full cycle of the masculine and the feminine energy here in Leo as a full solar eclipse, closing out this cycle that will, of course, transition over the next few weeks here into the from between around the 22nd to the 26th of July. We've been ramping up to this. It was the opening portal on the total eclipse of August 21st, 2017 that is now a complete cycle, not only for this year, but also for an evolutionary cycle as well. So what I want to try to do today for you is help you understand from a very high place, basically what this means, why we're doing this, what this ultimately is teaching you, and then how you can kind of embrace this process and going through it. And as I've said before, I mean, it does depend on where you are personally, as to we're all in different levels and dimensions of this reality. Ultimately, what we are doing is we are bringing into form that which is the full expression of the anatomy of God and all that is, and we're bringing it from the heavens into the earth. And for this particular eclipse, what's really creating in the process of this, we're going to start with this eclipse and kind of work out to the full circle here, is it's bringing unification and harmonization to not only ourselves individually, but the collective. And when I say the collective, that would be all that is, which is, again, that anatomy of God that we're bringing into form and bringing it into formation and bringing it into reality, basically. And so let's talk for a minute about the unification, and that in this unification, what is happening is really the harmonization of self, balance of self, and it's ultimately what it means is we're coming into alignment with our destiny, what we signed up for, and we're having to purge the pain in order to create perfect alignment with our current time present power. So it's it's past pain is producing present power in this process, and that's why we're having to purify our soul. And to purify our soul and coming into this alignment and creating this balance, the process of how we're doing that is we're creating the balance of our right brain and our left brain, which is also then connecting to our higher consciousness, and our subconscious programming. So our higher consciousness is our destiny and what we signed up for. And then that is helping us create the balance between our head and our heart, which is ultimately meaning that we're creating balance in our higher self and our lower self. And then what's happening in this process also, we're creating the balance of our masculine and our feminine energies, which all of this together is creating a raise in our vibration. As we release what no longer serves as purpose, our vibration is going up. And so that means our internal vibration is exceeding where it was in the past, in this new paradigm now. And so now our external reality is having to match the internal vibration. And then that is allowing us to then also, not only in the unification, that's now allowing us to harmonize with all that is externally as well. And that's now bringing us into alignment with everything in our external reality. So as this happens with even the harmonization and the alignment of with all that is, what that means is, kind of like I said, you're coming into the alignment of yourself, which is unification process. It is returning to the oneness within you. That is allowing you to come into alignment with beloved, of whoever your highest vibrational partner is in this lifetime, in order to purge and purify the differences between the two of you so that you can bring that love into form. And I'm seeing people not only harmonize and unify between their being and coming into this place of inner peace and happiness and then aligning with purpose, kind of coming out of that. But I'm seeing this unification take place, the harmonization. So it's the unification of self is creating then the harmonization between yourself and beloved. And that can take place in the fifth dimension and or the third dimension. And I'm seeing both transpire right now in this portal of energy, like a lot of this unifying oneness of self and all that is aligning also with beloveds in order to create that harmony with beloved on some level, be 5D or 3D or both. It's just happening. This is also creating the harmonization of relationships. This is why we're harmonizing and we're purifying the things between us and our family, us and our friends, us and our co-workers. This is why we're getting triggers that's bringing teachers into our lives that are soul contracts that people are showing up to teach us to clear these things out within ourselves. And then we're also, as we are harmonizing with them, these people, we are retemplating a new way to interact in these paradigms, which is part of the new process that I'll be talking about in a minute going forward out of this portal. And then this is also allowing alignment then, which means you're harmonizing with your purpose, which is why you're waking up to more fulfillment, more a desire to make an impact, create difference, which is wanting you to help you put your mission in motion, and or your mission is being accomplished and it's in action as far as you're bringing it into form, which is a lot of what I'm seeing right now. I mean, I've been bringing my mission into form, but I've had all these things that I've been downloading for a long time, and I've kind of said, well, how am I going to bring all this into form in this amount of time frame, because I have so much to create. And so one of the things I'm seeing with my alignment, so when you get in alignment, what you need for these things show up. And this is what I'm saying, when you get into harmony with all that is, the alignment, you're in the alignment of what you need for that journey appears. And so now I'm aligning with all these co-creators in order for that align with the pieces and the missing pieces I need to bring these things into form. And also being shown how I can delegate some of the things that I've been doing to other people as I help them align within their purpose. And this is allowing me to continue to expand and let go of the details, but focusing on the creation of what I'm to bring into form. It's another layer of letting go. This does not end. And this is allowing us, though, to then, as we get into the alignment with all that is, what that ultimately means at the end of the day is that we're coming into alignment with the contrast of good and bad and the duality of all that is, and that's creating full expression, a full expansion, a full array of everything. And this is how then we're also retemplating like the beliefs and the patriarchs and those sorts of things, because within that aspect we have to like create acceptance of all of these pieces so that we can all coexist. To give you an example, one of the things that's crossing my path because of my history of what I'm retemplating is a lot of the religion, having been here from being a spiritual person and never fitting in a box of religion, but then being back into like these religious situations and or people that's creating the acceptance of all that is also helping me retemplate my history of having a pastor as a father and someone that virtually, crammed the Bible down my throat and said that I was going to get it and that it was his job for me to get it and that otherwise he'd be going to hell, and he's going to make sure that he does his job to make sure that I end up in heaven so that I'm not going to hell. And if he doesn't fulfill that job for him, then he basically is going to hell because he didn't, get that. You see what I'm retemplating here? Like, this is how I grew up in the thought process of religion. And it never resonated with me. But we choose our parents. So I chose that experience. And I understand that now, to learn one side of this duality and contrast, to see the other side of my own aspect of what my belief systems are, to come out with my father to share who I am from a space and time that, I would hide who that was, or I would not speak it because I just had no need to express who I was because it would only lead to conflict. But that was not allowing me to be who I was and to express myself, nor him to be able to experience all of me because I hid a side of me. And so this is what I'm saying is we're coming into the fullness of ourselves, but we're also in that process. It's helping us align with these people to heal those templates that we've had with them so that we can not only retemplate, for instance, that in the family, but then also for, in my instance, is the religious belief systems, where some people's culture, patriarchs, and the list can go on and on. So, but coming into acceptance of all of that, accepting my dad more for who he is means I accept more of myself, and for me to come into alignment with that. So let's talk now about why we're kind of doing all of this. So, and I mentioned this, but I'm going to go deeper into it. So we are a collection of the whole. All right. So, and the whole is coming together into also unification and harmonization, that being the higher planes, the higher realms, the higher energies. They are the entities, the guides, the spirits, the angels, the energy, even in the galactic realms. That collection is also coming into unification within the whole. This is why we're doing soul retrievals, to retrieve our past, our present, and future aspects and our wisdom within ourselves to create and restore the fragments of and purify all the pieces that don't serve its purpose, but bring in the fragments of our being so we can create homeostasis within our being, which is creating this unification of oneness that I'm talking about. So we become the collection of the whole. And the whole, as I said, is coming into the unification and the harmonization. And we are tapping into that. We are aligning with that. All right. And that is how we're bringing into form the anatomy of God. It just is. And we then from there, like, let's just talk about what is that? What are we bringing into form? Like, what does God represent, right? And ultimately, at the end of the day, what that is a new earth heart language. And it's an abundance, period. Like, we've been in this place of lack for so long that we're moving from the lack to the abundance. And so now what that means is we're having an abundance of love, an abundance of healthy relationships, an abundance of our purpose, and also in that purpose being worthy and having value to our services, that we can get paid to do what we love to do, which is going to also create more healthy finances and change the poverty aspects of our reality and our belief systems of the past. Even the past belief system of spirituality says that I can't charge to do and get paid for what I do, right? I mean, I just had a session with a client yesterday that said those exact words. I know I'm supposed to do these things. I know I feel like I'm supposed to be a healer and an energy helper and help other people, but there's a piece of me inside that feels bad to even charge for that service. And I get that too from, by the time I got into these services, I knew the value of myself and what I offered. And I continued to, that even grew from my value of what I offer, because we're not selling a service, we're selling basically value here. And it is also an energy exchange. And in that, even as a chiropractor, I had a hard time getting, doing adjustments for free as being in training, and to come out and to like discuss like payment and collect for it, it was a big deal. And so I really learned a lot of my value in that road, and tried to learn through that process that there was value in what I did. And then I had to take that same model of what I learned in that and shift it into getting paid for my other services, because it was the same way. Well, who's going to pay me for that as well? Well, I can promise you, if you're not willing to pay for that and invest in yourself, you will not attract people to invest in yourself, their self either, because you can't walk a walk. I mean, sorry, you can't talk the talk unless you're going to walk the walk. So you got to be willing to invest in that. And I mean, I've paid $4,000. I just told this to a client yesterday. I paid $4,000 for a one-day VIP training session to walk out of that and realize that the lesson I took away was I was not charging enough. And, so, this is power. This is power. So it is time to go within, as we all keep hearing. And that is true. But what does it really mean in this timeline? Okay. So going forward, this is kind of like what, I want to talk about now going forward in this, because what we're doing is we are creating our own truth. We are learning to believe in ourselves, trust our guidance, and trust the process. And so many people think that now in this timeline, oh, I got to go within, and I can't talk to anybody, and I can't seek advice, and I can't do this, and all of that. And I want to share with you what I'm being shown that really means. It's not about shutting yourself off and secluding yourself and going back into this necessarily hibernation. And that's not to say you might not need that on some scale, okay? Because you need to listen. And you still need to like seek and for clarity, basically, and get your integration and your awarenesses to create your integration, to then process to create higher conscious awareness. But what this truly means to go within, and the time to kind of like step away from right now, is to continue to maybe ask for help and for the clarity, and to step outside to maybe continue to gain some confidence. And then in that also be a portion of like that asking for help can be a form of letting go of your masculine side. But what it means going forward is that we are now given two choices going forward. That there is not a right way or a wrong way. And that everything's going to present itself by a choice. And now only you can choose which choice you're going to make. And it's why everybody's getting a little confused, because they're coming to this crossroads of saying left or right. See, we're down to this left or right. You're going to say yes, you're going to say no. Are you going to do this or are you going to do that? This is the part that no one can give you the answer for, that can help guide you to the direction of your clarity of your two paths. But going forward, because we have free will, we're going to get to our alignment of our destiny. But the free will is how we choose to get there. And so we will no longer be able to come to, the veil has removed, so we can no longer narrow down this choice that somebody's going to specifically give you, because the lesson is you get to choose. So this is what the timeline means about going within. So the timeline right now is so powerful to go within. And what that really means is that you're creating a mindful heart, especially in this energy. And I talked about this in the last video of the eye of a tiger, and the eye of a tiger coming from heart. So if you did not watch the last video that I did a couple days ago for the Lion's Gate, eye of the heart, eye of the tiger energy, be sure to connect with that, because what we're doing in creating a mindful heart is the eye of the tiger I was talking about. And that's creating the confidence, the courage, and the communication that it takes to stand in our truth so we can create. And what that ultimately means in this process of this portal, of what we've been going through to purge and release these things is taking our chaos and our confusion and turning it into clarity. But in the process of the confusion to the clarity, we're creating an energy, and that is creative energy, that is to then allow us to use that energy that we're used to create without of it. So going from the process of confusion to clarity generates an energy. And that energy is a creative energy. And I've drawn a symbol of this that I'm going to have made up for my book coming up on this. But going from that, it's like it's generating the energy to create, because we're learning in the process of going from confusion to creativity. And now we're taking that creative energy and we're putting that to put that creative energy into purpose, into like the mission and that we came here to do, which is a portion of it is the retemplating. Okay, and I'll talk about a little bit more of the retemplating and how to do that here in a minute. But at the end of the day, there's two components to this process that we should be going in order to create a mindful heart, that we two lessons, big lessons that we should learn out of this. The first one is to honor your inner voice. And that is where you're going to get the trusting yourself and trusting your guides and trusting the process by honoring that voice. And this is where we're shifting from the head logic into the heart language, and that voice is coming from your heart. And in that process, then we are to nurture the inner child as we're shifting from pain to pleasure, because this is breaking us apart to go from the pain to the pleasure and from the heart. And this is why this heart chakra is so much being impacted right now, not to mention all the Leo energy, and I'll share more about that in a minute. But what this is doing in this acceptance of all that is creating acceptance with ourselves, when we can go into the inner child and this inner voice, and we can in that heal that abandonment and releasing the sabotage, releasing the rejection, releasing the guilt and the blame and the shame, and creating the divine mother within in order for you to come in and nurture yourself and not feel guilty for it. You know, to be okay with the fact that there's a side of you coming out that you've tried to cut out, to be okay with the fact that you are in a place maybe that's painful. It's the key is to stop resisting the change that's to come here. Okay? And when you're resisting it, it's putting you out of alignment with your inner child and your oneness, and then that's creating more confusion. And that creates the cycle again of going from confusion to clarity, creating more energy to produce with. That's also in that production of that creative energy. The creative energy itself is confidence, courage, and it gives you the belief within yourself that you can communicate from your heart now. And that's creating that new earth heart language too that I'm talking about, that we're sharing with not only ourselves, but with others and beloved and all that is. And ultimately at the end of the day, as we're creating this mindful heart, to get there, we are going through a process of returning to the innocence by purifying our soul from the beginning of the evolution and restoring oneness that I mentioned within. See, I'm coming full circle here where I started, which is what this portal is about. Creating oneness within that's also producing harmonization and balance within yourself and everything around you. And I did a video series, 5-part video series last year. I'm going to make sure you have the link below. That is the return to oneness, and that's about like coming into alignment with yourself, coming into alignment with source, coming into alignment with your beloved, coming into alignment with your purpose, and coming into alignment with all that is. Now, I set that up and said, even along that process over this last year, that this would be stages of the fact that we were going to be going through a process of identifying and creating the awareness. And then we would be actually going into a process of activating that knowledge and that wisdom and that information in us to do all of that. Then we would be working that light. So we would be activating the light inside of us, you know, from, it was 9/22 to 12/22 of this last year. And from 12/22 to 2/22 would be working that light. From 5/22 until 8/22, we would be living that light and seeing it in form. And now this has been coming full circle, and so it kind of blows me away to see this full circle as I've tracked this. If you follow me over the last year, first of all, thank you, but you will understand what I'm saying. And if you have not, be sure to go back and watch that Return to Oneness 5-part video series and get up to speed with yourself in this alignment that I'm talking about. And no matter where you're at in this journey, to make sure to nurture that inner child, honor that inner voice, which is going to create the mindful heart that now is, I said, we're bringing full circle from the portal, this 3 eclipse portal that we're closing out today from 7/13 of the partial solar eclipse in Cancer, 7/27, the total lunar eclipse in Leo, and 8/11, the solar eclipse, the full solar eclipse in Leo. Now, it's no accident that the Cancer tapped into those emotions and those feelings. And it's no accident this is happening in Leo. Because at the end of the day, with this, you know, being in Leo, what we're balancing is our head and our heart. A Leo represents head and heart. And I'm a Leo here. My birthday was on July 27th in the middle of all this. And so this has been just a like bonus to this added energy to me, my birthday coming in that. And what we're ultimately doing is giving birth to ourselves in this process as we collect ourselves from the passion side, the creative side, and the wisdom side, creating that oneness of all of ourselves, and then giving birth to that, which is what this new portal is giving birth now. Okay, and I can tell you, you will not unbirth a baby, but I can also tell you, being a baby, no wonder we don't remember the birthing process, because that trauma to go through that process is very painful. And of course, as a mother, I'm sure you guys know this. So now, as I mentioned, the mindful heart and how that connects to the Leo and this portal, what's happening here is we're restoring that, and we're bringing it up, as I mentioned, the collectivity of God, so to speak, and the anatomy of God. And this is what I'm about to tell you is even a representation of that. It's for ourselves, internally in the 3D, and also for the 5D. So we're restoring our head versus our heart, which is creating a new way to think, new thought, okay? We're restoring the ego versus love, which is a new way to feel. And then we have the logic side of that versus the language side of that, and that's creating a new way to communicate. And so as we close this portal and we create new beginnings, what we're really creating is the new earth heart language going forward. And that new beginning for self and within its soul retrieval, but we're also doing the new templates I told you for humanity, and recreating that there's no more external control from families, patriarchs, all of those things. So we're now implementing the new templates one way or another. That's your mission, folks. You may not realize it, but all this dynamic you have with your coworkers, your job, what you're involved in around you, all these family things is going on, all this stuff is going on with your beloved, and all this purging and this pain you're going through, you are being forced to purge a portion of yourself, of your past. So purging your past pain. And then that's creating the present power, which is creating the empowerment of the confidence and the clarity and the courage and the communication from the heart, which is creating the mindful heart. And I want to share something with you too in the process of that. So as we accept all of us and all that is, To open up and tap into that, I've mentioned we're creating a perception that's producing a projection to create a trigger to have somebody come along our path in order to create the reflection we need to get the lesson that we need to put us into alignment with all of these things I'm telling you. And so that means to align with all that is and accepting all of ourselves. It's about things are coming along to trigger pain, not just pleasure. And we got to allow that. And we got to accept that. And that if somebody's coming along to produce that, there's something within you that maybe there's nothing wrong with the karmic purge anymore, which now we're shifting out of the darkness. It's not even about purging the karma as much as it is about pulling it out of our system and our 3D reality and exhaling it that way. And it's coming up to release now. It's not we went backwards. So many people think they went backwards and they're not. They're going deeper to release now on a new layer, new level. But that's happening on the interior of us. And on the exterior of us, anytime you come out bigger, bolder, braver, and you come out with these templates and you come out with that voice that you're communicating, even if it is from the heart, you're going to be more susceptible to all that is that you're going to run into alignment with people that are going to love you and people that are not going to agree with you, and they're going to have their own opinion about what your message is. You have to honor all of that. You have to get in alignment with the co-acceptance of all of that, and that accepts all of you. And this is the inner 3D here. That's the external 5D, and we're bringing and meshing these into oneness in this full circle that's creating this mindful heart that's allowing us to shift from head logic into heart language so we can let go of the ego, so we can learn how to love, so that we can create new thoughts, new feelings, new communication. And basically, we're retemplating, which means we're rewriting history. R-I-G-H-T-I-N-G, rewriting history. In order to do that, folks, you have to rewrite, R-I-G-H-T, your story. First of all, you have to let it go. You have to be willing to release that story. Stop being the victim. Be the conqueror. And we as Twin Flames came here to conquer. So how do we do that? There's 3 things guidance wanted me to share with you and how you can focus on that. First of all, you become aware of the problem that you're being presented with, the trigger, the lesson that you need out of it. You stay open and willing to get that lesson. And then what you do is, and the second part of that is a solution. And the solution, I can tell you, to every problem is the surrender, the resistance to change, and stop fighting that process. Surrender the resistance to the change of what it takes to shift you from where you are to where you want to be. And the third thing is taking action, meaning you're taking responsibility that you are the co-creator of your own life. And stop blaming everyone and everything and every circumstance outside of you, because it's merely a reflection of your internal vibration, and you've created it to bring the experience you need to release it, purge it, that's hitting you, not in this dimension, but everything in the past, so that you can release that past pain in order to create the positive aspects and the power inside of yourself to create empowerment that you need to go forward in this new earth heart language as we close out the cycle and come full circle to go forward in your truth. Woo! Apparently guidance has a message there that's hitting somebody, because it's very intentful that it's time to take action, folks. You're in the new paradigm after today. What you choose to do going forward is up to you. So do not blame anyone but yourself if you're continuing to stew in that energy, because you don't have to. Get up, dust yourself off, and get going. It's a beautiful place to be in this alignment. So if you haven't watched that 5-part series, and if you did watch it last year, watch that. I also am going to put a link and make sure that you have connection to a diamond light activation that I did on August 8th of 2017. It's about activating the seeds of radiance from the diamond light coming in from light codes and all kinds of things in a 33-day free to love challenge. I'm going to put that information below, because I got to tell you something else too. You know, people like are complaining, but they're not willing to take action. They're not willing to take ownership. So it's about taking action now. This is another place that only you can do you. Only you can dig your way out of this. There's no one going to do it for you. Keep showing up every week. I'll keep delivering because you guys inspire me to do so. I can't tell you how many messages I get saying, please don't stop because I need this to keep me going. And that fuels my fire. So that's why I'm showing up on a Saturday that's supposed to be my day off and getting ready to head out and hopefully get this processed in enough time that you can get this out there before I go get these roots done in my hair that are needing done. That is something that, like, personally I need to take care of today in order to be able to record some videos that are coming up for an online course that's going to be coming out. So make sure to like, comment, share the shine, and may you always face your fears, find freedom, and glow forward on fire. Namaste.